A fun and easy way to watercolor this sunflower image using a few markers and some water-based ink pads. I started off with a little bit of watercolor paper and I stamped it with my Stazon ink. Stazon is a waterproof ink. It's a solvent-based ink, so it doesn't dilute when you add water-based inks to it. You don't want to use this with your Copics, but you can use it with your water-based inks. You can actually stamp your image with a water-based ink, kind of like your Distress ink or your Memento ink pads. You can stamp your image and then you're going to get a softer look. So you can see this one here, it's a nice soft look. My image kind of diluted a little bit when I colored on top of it with my water-based inks. Here's another one that I did with the water-based stamp pad. I stamped my image and then when I colored it kind of diluted it, just leaving a little hint of color outlining each of my little pieces of my image. So you can use your water-based, but what I'm going to do here in this video is I wanted a nice crisp look. I wanted the watercolor look with the crisp image stamped in there. So that's what I'm going to do here. And so here's a couple of these that I've done. I have several others, so I've done this image several times, and I absolutely love it. It turns out different every single time. So let's get started on this. What I did is I went ahead and I jumped ahead and I stamped it with my Stazon ink. This one here is by Judith Stamps. It's just a little water bucket with some sunflowers in it. So you can use just about any image that you want. I like to have lots of open space, and this one here was kind of illustrated for watercolor, but it's really fun with your other Copics and other things too. So I'm going to start off coloring my sunflowers. I'm going to take my yellow marker. You can use any yellow marker you want. This happens to be Brilliant Yellow number 43 by Marvy LaPlume. And I'm going to just dab some color in here on all of my little petals. You can see how technical I am, or am not. So there we go. And I apologize, my neighbor's dog is barking, but I will never get this done if I wait until he stops. So we're just going to do it. I have Marmalade here. Yes, Spiced Marmalade by Tim Holtz. Notice I'm using less color as I go darker. And now I'm going to throw in a little bit of this one, Ripe Persimmon. Not a lot, but I'm going to kind of keep it down here close to the stamen of my flower. Okay, now I'm going to grab my sepia marker and I'm going to color in the inside of my stamen, leaving some white space. If you're like me, you'll forget to leave white space. So you can see how easy this is so far. So there's all my flowers. They're pretty much done except for just diluting them a little bit with some water. So I have my little tub of water and my paintbrush. You can use a smaller paintbrush than this. This just happens to be one of my favorites. So I'm going to dilute some of this color with my water, smear it around a little bit, and get that nice fun watercolor look. Don't do your brown and your yellow at the same time because the brown, it will all bleed together and kind of look very watercolory. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with that part. Now I'm going to hit my stamens a little bit with some water. See how it bleeds into those little white spaces, so then you have a little bit lighter color there in those spots. So it's important to leave the white. Leave some white space. If you think you've diluted it too much, you can always take your pen after it dries and add just a little bit more color in here, wherever you think that you need to have the color. So my flowers are absolutely done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and this one here is my Jungle Green marker, which has been dying for quite a while. I have some on order. They're just not getting here very fast. So you can scribble it on here so I have the same exact ink. I'm also just going to scribble on some of my little leaves in here. You can see I'm not being very careful. I'm just kind of scribbling it on here. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to... Boy, that dog next door is not happy today. Okay, so there we go. And now I'm going to take a little bit of olive green, which it looks like my olive green ran away. Here we have some olive green. And now I'm going to add a little bit of olive green. Not a lot, but I'm going to add a little bit. Okay, so there's my olive green, and now I'm going to wet it down, smooth it around. If I wanted to, I could dip into here, and then I have some soft green that I can kind of just add in. I am so sorry that dog is barking. Okay, so there's my flowers. They're all done. If you want a little bit more dark in there, you can add some more olive. It's up to you how you want it to look. So we all like different things. So do what you want to do. It's your image when you're coloring it. So there we go. Now I'm going to do my bucket. You can see how fast that went. I just absolutely love how fast and easy this is. This one here, the illustrator, what she did is she went ahead and put a lot of hash marks in the image. The hash marks are basically where your shading is going to go when you color your image or when you paint it. And so that's where I'm going to focus when I'm going to add my color. I'm going to use Distress Marker Stormy Sky, and I'm going to focus on the areas that are thick with the hash marks. You can see how random I put this on. I'm also going to add a little bit here because I want to pop the ledge of the bucket up here. I'm going to add a little bit of color here, leaving some white because I want this ledge to look like it's closer than this back here. So there's my color. I just kind of scribbled it on. Now I'm going to take my water. You can see how quick and easy that was. It's done. If you want more water or if you want more color, you can add more color, but I like to have some white space showing through. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sepia marker, the same color that I colored my stamens with, and I'm going to color just here on the hash marks of the handle. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of this up here on this little round thing. And that is pretty much done. I didn't get any water up in here. I'm going to soften this. Okay, and now I want my bucket to be setting on something. I don't want it just floating there in the air. So I'm going to take a little bit of my sepia marker and I'm going to scribble it on here onto my palette. And then I'm going to just scribble it on there. And now my bucket has something to set on. So make sure and wait until it dries and then add your name on the bottom because it is your work of art. It might not be your image, but it is your coloring. So make sure and sign it. So that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's nice and quick and easy watercolor look using just a few markers. And remember, if you do want to do the background, which I just realized I didn't do, you would just take and swish some color on the background. Let's jump back in here for a second. I would just jump into my little Bahama blue, and that's pretty bold, so if it's too bold I can dilute it down. Sorry, I shook the camera there. And just paint a little background on there until you have it the color that you want it. Then you're going to have an image that looks more like this or like this here. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Please come back again for some more. Have a great day. Bye-bye.